Is the new album from Mammoth WVH, Mammoth 2, worth a listen? Let's find out. Hey everybody, it's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the Rock Squad channel and welcome to my rock album review for the brand new album from Mammoth WVH. It's called Mammoth 2. Before we get to it, guys, if you love to rock out as much as we do here on the Rock Squad channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Make sure to like this video, we'd appreciate that. And make sure to share this video online with your friends and fellow Mammoth WVH fans. Mammoth 2 is the second studio album from Mammoth WVH, aka Wolfgang Van Halen. It's the follow-up to his debut, which came out in 2021. Which was one of my favorite rock records of 2021 and one of my favorite rock records that's come out over the last little while. You know, I think that Wolf is an amazingly talented musician. I think he's one of the best rock musicians out there right now, making some of the best rock music that's available to us in 2023. Obviously following in the footsteps of his late great father, Eddie Van Halen, but also forging his own path. You know, Mammoth WVH has their own sound, and while I think that, I think Wolf does definitely draw some influences from Eddie Van Halen on his guitar playing for sure. I think he's forged his own path. He has his own sound, and Mammoth WVH is a fantastic band. He's got his own touring band, but he plays everything himself on these records. He plays all the instruments. He does all the vocals. I think he's got an incredible voice. Obviously, he can master all the instruments on these records. The guitar playing is fantastic. The drums are always amazing. The bass, everything that he's doing on these albums is fantastic, and I think he's an immensely talented musician. You know, some of my favorite tracks from the first album, I loved like Mr. Ed, I loved Epiphany, Don't Back Down, Resolve, You're to Blame, Mammoth, the title track. There are so many great songs on that first record that came out in 2021, and I think that he's got an incredible voice. As a singer myself, I love singing along with Mammoth WVH in the car. Like, there's just so many great like kind of high notes to hit. He definitely doesn't sleep on the high notes when he's doing his stuff with Mammoth WVH. So I was very much looking forward to this new record, Mammoth 2, and I'm happy to say that, you know what, this album kicks absolute ass. Yeah, the thing with Mammoth WVH in the music of Wolfgang Van Halen is that he kind of encapsulates in his sound everything I love about great rock music. You know, he has everything that I love. He's got great melodies, great anthemic, soaring vocals, amazing guitar, chuggy, heavy guitar with some really, really punchy drums. Love the production of the drums on these Mammoth WVH albums, and he really just has an incredible sound. I would say that on this new album, Mammoth 2, maybe the songwriting isn't as sharp as it was on the first record. You know, that what they say when it comes to bands in their first record, they have all their entire lives to prepare for their first record and only a couple of years to write their second record, and that might be something that's happening on this album. I don't think it's a sophomore slump by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I got to dig in a little bit deeper into the songs for them to stand out to me as much as like some of those songs that I was mentioning from the first record. But in 2023, it doesn't get any better than the music of Mammoth WVH, the music of Wolfgang Van Halen. It's just, he's such a great musician. This album is chock full of anthemic hooks and soaring vocals. It's the type of rock music, it's just epic and anthemic. It's like fist in the air rock music that really makes you feel good, really pumps you up. And he's opened some great bands over the last little while, including Metallica and a bunch of other great bands. So he's well on his way to making his mark, if he hasn't already, in the rock music industry. He participated in the Taylor Hawkins tribute shows back in the fall of 2022. So he's doing a lot of great things, and this new album, Mammoth 2, is a pretty great record. So you know what? Let's get to the songs I loved and maybe the songs I didn't love so much. Let's go track by track. Mammoth 2 kicks off with a song called Right. Yeah, that's right. It's got a question mark at the end. It's not right, it's right. And this is a great song to kick off Mammoth 2. It kicks off like a machine gun. There's so many great kind of metal and heavy rock, hard rock influences on this album that he's pulling out. It kicks off like a machine gun. It really does sound like that kind of sound. It shows you what Mammoth WVH is all about, and that's really what any great intro track on a record should do. It should introduce you to the album and to what you're going to be experiencing for the next little while as a listener. And he definitely kicks it off in style with the song called Right. I really like it. It has the soaring melody and vocals that I expect and love from Wolf and Mammoth WVH. It's got great guitar. It's got some nice acoustic guitar flourishes as well. The production on this album is absolutely fantastic. It's crisp, it's punchy, but it's also textured and layered. Really great audio listening experience. And then it's got a breakdown in there. It's got a killer solo, as expected. If you want to listen to Mammoth WVH, this is the son of Eddie Van Halen. And although we don't want to put all these expectations of Wolf to be like his dad, dad. He definitely has all the talent that his dad had on lead guitar, so he sounds fantastic, and I thought that Right was a fantastic opening track. Then we get to Like a Pastime, one of the songs that was released before Mammoth 2, the album came out. Chuggy as fuck guitars on here. Love the melody. I love the harmonies. Great layering and textured harmonies on this record from Wolfgang Van Halen. It has a great chorus on it, just like so many of the songs on this album. There are no shortage of hooks happening here. It's like a great little bridge middle part in there as well. The songs all have great structure to them. Some of the songs are a little bit longer on this as well. Some clocking in at more 5 or 6 minutes. So you're not getting, really snappy pop songs, but you're getting these really well thought out rock songs that obviously have a lot of effort and a lot of thought put into them, which is really, really appreciated as a listener and a fan of Wolfgang. And the thing about him, that will be a continuing theme throughout this review, is that his songs soar. Every time that I listen to a Wolfgang Van Halen song, I feel like I'm just, I'm on cloud nine. It's very, very inspiring kind of rock music, and I think Like a Pastime is a great song as well. Then we get to Another Celebration at the End of the World, which is the first single that was released from this album several months ago. I think that might be one of my complaints about Mammoth 2 is not the album itself, but the album release cycle. There was a trend for a while where bands were announcing and releasing albums in pretty quick succession. But a lot of bands are going back to their old release model where they announced the album and the first single months ahead of the album actually coming out. And this just came out at the beginning of August. I think they announced it back, April? Maybe. It's been a while, but I love this song as a lead single. It's still one of my favorite songs of 2023. I love the kind of the upbeat intro with those drums before it kicks into the main riff, which is a really cool way to kick off a song. It has an in-your-face kind of riff to it, which has, obviously, this is a Mammoth WVH record. There are no shortage of awesome riffs on here. It's got an epic chorus. It's got great vocals. Wolf has a crazy good range. I'm a singer myself, and I love singing along with his songs because really just trying to hit those notes that he's hitting. He is an incredible vocalist. It's not enough for him to be just a great guitar player, a great instrumentalist, but he's a crazy good vocalist as well. The song is pedal to the metal. It's awesome. It's got a great chuggy breakdown in the middle. It's got a great solo, as every great Wolfgang Van Halen song should, and it's a great single as well. So I love Another Celebration at the End of the World. Next up is one of my favorite songs on Mammoth 2, and that is Miles Above Me. It kicks off with a really nice chunky riff, a super catchy riff, one of the catchier riffs on the record. Really, really catchy chorus, really kind of poppy vibe to it as well. One of the poppier songs on this record. He kind of goes back and forth between darker vibes and lighter vibes, which I really dig as a listener. Has some great harmonies, some great backup vocals, and it's hard to express just from a musician's perspective. I can't play every instrument. I play guitar, I sing, a little bit of bass, maybe a little bit of keyboards here and there, but it's hard to express just from a listener, from a musician's perspective, how much this guy is doing and how much he is putting into every song. When you think it's just one person, I know he's doing multi-tracking, he's doing production, but when you think it's one person doing this, absolutely incredible. So I really love that. One of my favorites on the record, and Miles Above Me just made me feel good as a listener, as so many of the songs on this record did. So I love this track. Then we get to one of the other songs that was released before Mammoth 2, the album came out, and that is Take a Bow. Starts with some soft picked guitar, some great textured layer guitar on here, great bass sound on here as well. I thought the bass sounded fantastic on this record. Wolf has the ability to sing low, to sing high. He displays both of those ranges on this song, on Take a Bow. It's kind of like Resolve from the first record. It had a similar vibe to that. 7 minutes long, so it's nice to see that Wolf is stretching things out a little bit. He's trying different things and not just, trying to fit in within that, 3 minute and 30 second pop rock formula. Love the solo on here. He just rips just like Eddie Van Halen. It's like anybody who listens to him can obviously say that he has taken a lot of influence from his dad and that he can rip it just as well as Eddie Van Halen. Doing some amazing tap on here. Total tap city on this song, and I really love Take a Bow. It's one of the strongest tracks on this record. Then we get to a song called Optimus, which is probably the heaviest song on Mammoth 2. This song just crushes. This is absolutely amazing. The drums on this album, I love in-your-face drum production. I love on rock records when the drums are really up front. You can really hear that bass drum. You can really hear that snare drum, and the really great drum sound on this song and the entire record. Crazy drums in the middle as well. There's a crazy breakdown, and this song just crushes. Really loved it, and I really dug Optimist. Then we get to a song called I'm Alright, which was just released before Mammoth 2 came out. This one has a big stadium intro to it, has some spiky piano, doot, 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 which kind of reminded me of an Oasis song called Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is, which is from Standing on the Shoulder of Giants. It reminded me of that. That's just what kind of sprung to mind for me. Love the slinky and tasty riffs on this song. Has a great melody, and the kind of the vocal flourishes that Wolf is doing on the song reminded me of a couple of blues guys, Stevie Ray Vaughan for one, but maybe if you're not Canadian you might not know him, but Colin James, who's been one of my favorite Canadian musicians, one of my favorite rock blues musicians, and he has a certain kind of sound to his voice, and I don't know if Wolfgang Van Halen is, I'm sure he doesn't really know the music of Colin James, he might, but it definitely has that kind of sound to it, so that's something I really enjoyed. A great bluesy vibe to it. I think he's incorporating a little bit more of that bluesy sound and some of the flourishes and things that he's doing with his vocals, and I really like this song. Super catchy. One of my favorite songs on the album, I'm Alright. Then we get to a song called Erase Me, which rips right from the start, just like so many of the songs on Mammoth 2. My only criticism is, like, as we're getting towards the end of the album, things were starting to sound a little bit samey to me, if that's a word that I can use, a little bit too much like the other songs that were kind of coasting a little bit, and that might be one of my criticisms of Mammoth 2 and just the sound of Mammoth WVH in general, is that he kind of hits a certain level of dynamic and kind of energy, and that sustains throughout most of the record. There's not a lot of change happening there. All the songs are pretty balls to the wall, which no complaints for me here, but maybe for, you know, if you're somebody who's just listening, maybe not as huge of a fan as I am, it might strike you as being a little bit samey. He has a little bit of a formula going on, which is not a bad formula at all, but it's still a formula. And, you know, this to me was like a typical near the end of the album kind of song, where it's not super strong, maybe not as strong as the first half of the album. Could be classified as filler, but it has a crazy tap solo in there, you know, him channeling Eddie Van Halen, but it's a little bit of a filler track for me, so I didn't love Erase Me as much as some of the other tracks on Mammoth 2. As we get to the end of the album, we have a song called Waiting, which is more of a ballad on there, so there's a little bit of change in dynamic happening here as well. And the thing about Wolf is that he's an emotional guy. I feel those emotions in every kind of breath and note that he's singing on Mammoth 2. He's definitely not phoning it in. He knows how to make the songs emotional. There are so many great emotions happening here on this album. I just could feel those emotions, and I really like this song as well. So Waiting was one of the good tracks towards the end of the record. And then we close off Mammoth 2 with a song called Better Than You. We're back to the rock to finish off the album. We got to finish strong. This is song 10. It's a good closer. It was catchy. It was rocking. Maybe not one of the stronger tracks on the album, but I still thought it was a good way to end things off. A little bit more of an upbeat melody on this one as well. Maybe not one of my favorite tracks on the record, but, you know, it's a relatively quick record. Only 10 tracks, and I thought this was a strong way to end off the album, a strong closer, so I liked Better Than You. So overall, I thought that Mammoth 2 from Wolfgang Van Halen, Mammoth WVH, was a great rock record. In 2023, this is rock at its best. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, there's no great rock anymore. Like, what are you talking about? How can there be no great rock when you have a band like Mammoth WVH there doing their thing? Absolutely love this record. Love this band. Rock at its best. I feel like he was stretching things out a little bit, getting a little bit looser with the songs, not adhering to the pop rock formula. He's doing different things, songs stretching out a little bit more, getting a little bit longer, getting a little bit crazier. Some awesome solos happening on here, which I really love. It had that fist in the air and themic kick-ass sound, which I really love. And I dig the 10-song album as well. That's something I know some bands been going back to, is the 10-song album. And sometimes albums get a little bit long in the tooth. With 10 songs, I feel like you're keeping people engaged in a way that you can't with longer albums. 10 songs is a great way to keep people engaged and you know, enjoying the record without getting bored. So I really like that as well. I think with a criticism for this is that it could be seen as a little bit one note. There is a certain kind of you know, like I was saying, level that he's going at on this record, and that continues throughout the majority of its runtime. So that can get a little bit tiring if you don't like the band as much as I do, or as, you know, other Mammoth WVH bands. But that's good then, because there's only 10 songs on there. I think the debut album from 2021 is still my favorite, but this is a super strong sophomore follow-up to that record. I think I got to listen to it more to feel if the songs stand out to me as much as the first record, because I've been sitting with that record for a couple of years, not sitting with this one quite as long. But I think it was a great record, and I think Wolf is one of the best of the rockers doing it right now. I think that Mammoth WVH is an incredible band. I gotta buy tickets. They're coming to Toronto to play at the Danforth Music Hall. Definitely got to get tickets for that. And you know, I was gonna say actually, lyric wise on this record, I think like Wolf's got some beefs, man, with a lot of people. He's calling people out on this record. I don't know if that's necessarily the absolute truth. Maybe it's just kind of a lyrical kind of theme and vibe that he's going for, but it seems like he's got issues with people. So if you've pissed off Wolfgang Van Halen in the last little while, it's time to apologize. Favorite tracks on this record: Another Celebration at the End of the World, Miles Above Me, Like a Pastime, I'm Alright. I would say those are my favorite tracks. Right, the debut track or the first track on the record was good as well. So I think that Wolf is one of the best people doing it right now. This is a fantastic record. I'm going to give the new album from Wolfgang Van Halen, Mammoth WVH Mammoth 2, a solid 4 out of 5. All right, guys, that is it. That is my review for the new album from Wolfgang Van Halen. It's called Mammoth 2. Let me know what you thought of the record in the comments below. Make sure to like this video. We'd appreciate that. Make sure to subscribe to us here on the Rock Squad channel if you love to rock out as much as we do. Share this video online with your friends, fellow rock fans, fellow Mammoth WVH fans, and make sure to follow us on social media on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not on X or Twitter or anything like that anymore, but follow on Instagram and TikTok at Rock Squad Pod. And if you love rock music like Foo Fighters, maybe Mammoth WVH, maybe a little bit, Foo Fighters, Oasis, Weezer, that kind of thing, Smashing Pumpkins, you might dig my band as well. We're called Fools Union. You can check us out at foolsunion.com. But I'll see you guys again for another rock album review here on the Rock Squad channel. Until then, rock on, everybody.